you were saying something about, how the United States, gave some support, it would seem, to the candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari when he was running in 2015. Is that what is happening right now in 2019?
No, what is happening in 2019 is clear and unambiguous. If you notice, President Donald Trump has been upbeat, the President of America, about building a wall against the Mexicans to stop the influx of immigrants. And the question is this: go to all the grade A embassies in Nigeria today. When you get there, they appear as if you are in Gariki International Market or Dede Market or the Alaba International Market because of Nigerians trying to run out of this country. 21 million Nigerian youths have lost their jobs. And the next thing they think they want to do, listen, you see, with profound respect.
Sorry to interrupt you. I want to stay on the issue. I don't want to.
No, we're looking at the issues.
I don't want to go to, because I mean, you keep quoting this 21 million figures, and if I'm to ask you your source now, you will say the National Bureau of Statistics. And the National Bureau of Statistics has said they did not say that 21 million Nigerians lost their jobs. But let's go away from that. I have listened to Mr. Yemi Kale explain over and over again, how they came by their figures. They did not say 21 million Nigerians lost their job. But let us move away from that. Let's talk about how it is. Just a moment. Yes. How do you think that the United States, gave their support to the candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015? When you said that they did support the PMB in 2015,
what the Americans did was simple.
What did they do?
What the American government did under President Barack Obama was clear and unambiguous.
What did they do?
What they did was, first, they called for a free and fair election.
Yes.
Then the leadership of the APC visited the United States of America at some point and met with top government functionaries. And they kept on putting pressure that, look, conduct a free and fair election, that we take care of insurgency, that we counter insurgency, tackle the issue of corruption, and put food on the table for the people.
What's wrong with that?
Beautiful. What's wrong with that? And what are they doing now?
You said that
what are they doing now?
They're saying the same thing now.
Yes, what they call
support. They're saying the same thing now, and you say they're not supporting your candidate.
You see, what they are calling support now, that's what I'm trying to redefine for them. What they are calling support now was the same thing, the same role the United States of America and all other international world superpowers played in 2015. It's the same role they are playing now. And they have said, look.
It was said that sorry to interrupt you, it was said that the government in power, whenever those kinds of statements are made, always seem a little jittery. Why do you think that is?
Maupe, the situation is this. If you promise the people that, look, you're going to give them security, you're going to tackle insurgency, let's use insurgency as a working hypothesis, the issue of security. You said, when you came to power, you said you were going to tackle security because you were a retired general. At that time, the issue of Boko Haram insurgency was restricted to the northeast. Today, it keeps spreading. We know the number of persons we buried in Benue. We know the number of persons that were buried in Taraba. We know what happened in Kogi. We know what has happened in other parts of this country today under this administration. So are we getting better? The answer is no. How much was a bag of rice before now? How much is it today? The president, Mr. President himself has come out to say, look, our economy is in bad shape. Under his watch. The same economy we elected him to manage. The same one who promised that he was going to take us to the promised land. He came and confessed that the economy is in bad shape. He didn't say we'll be in bad shape. He said it is in bad shape. And what that means is that it's an admission of failure. As a man has admitted that he has failed, his own wife has come out publicly to say, look, my husband is not in charge. There is a cabal running Nigeria. And you want Nigerians to close their eyes to watch this man, to watch this same cabal to run this country adrift?
Mr. Shriver, I'm going to ask Mr. Barde to respond to some of the things that you have said.
But with due respect, I need to give me
But the issue we're talking about is bias. And you have moved away from bias.
No. I'm giving you the ground. I'm giving you the ground.
No, the question I have, sorry to interrupt you. The question I have asked you is how the United States supported, because you said it. How did they support the candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari? And if they're still doing the same thing now, does it mean that they're now supporting your own candidate?
Maupe, this is very clear.
Yes.
If you claim that United States cautioning Nigerians and the leadership of this country, especially after what happened in Osun, that look, conduct a free and fair election. If you call that bias and a tacit support for Atiku Abubakar, then are you now saying that the same admonition they gave to Goodluck Jonathan, President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015, was support for Buhari. It's as simple as ABCD.
It was what you said.
No, if you are saying that is support, then it is support. But you and I know that what they have done is just clear admonition. Do this thing right. Do what is right. Let the votes of the people count. And you call that support. You see, they have been, from day one, even when Atiku Abubakar applied to get his visa to the United States of America, we had the spokesman of this government, Mr. Lai Mohammed, address the World Press Conference, asking another sovereign nation not to grant visa to its own citizen. For God's sake, that's an aberration. Who does that? In civilized climes, it's marks of wretched illiteracy.
You have to ask in the first place, why did they refuse him? And why have they given him now?
That's a matter of conjecture. It's the onus and the right to grant entry visa to an individual is dependent on the country the person is applying to visit.
You have sent the statement.
On your own country.
You have sent the statement released. Not a statement now, but the investigation done by some reporters, which was published on the cable online.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Yes.
You saw it, saying that there was some lobbying of the United States senators, and that the United States Department of State granted that visa on top of because of the lobbying done by those people.
Oh my God! And there was, and as a professional journalist, and there was a strand of evidence attached to that report.
Do you refute it?
No, was there a strand of evidence attached to that report, Maokwe? As a professional journalist that you are.
It was published by...
It was published.
Just a moment.
No.
It was, excuse me.
Yes,
it was published by a reputable online paper. And if that is the case, we have not seen any refutal from your candidate or from, spokespersons, attached to your candidate. Does it mean it is true?
No, for most times when we see spurious allegations that are meant to be consigned to the dustbin, refuting them will mean that we want to give life to that story. We will not degenerate to that. Okay. So publishing of fake news.
No problem.
People who do rallies and carry photos meant for PDP and post as part of their...
I think that the cable online will respond to that. But
please let them do. Let them provide evidence.
No problem. But let me ask, Mr. Barde now, how you react to that. First of all, he said the security is getting worse. And he's also talked about your jitteriness as elections approach.
Which is not true. I can tell you clearly that the security situation in the country is far better. Prior to 2015, we know how many local governments have been lost to the insurgencies. Nigeria, as it were then, was not a country because our territorial integrity was not secured. We've secured that during this administration. One, I'm from the northeast part of the country. I've come from Gombe State, and I also live in Abuja. I have witnessed the bombings of the United Nations building, the bombings in Nyanya, the bombings at the Eagle Square on Independence Day. I have seen them. I have seen how you cannot move for more than 100 meters from one place to the other.
Why are you responsible?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry I have to interrupt you.
No,
you have to take this in context.
Okay.
I would like you to also respond to, because we're talking about security. You also should take into context the fact that the INEC chairman, while granting an interview, said that, yes, we had IDPs in 2015. The security situation was bad, but that right now, we have more IDP camps spread across the country. No, that was something he was quoted to have said.
No. I don't believe so. That's the first thing. And secondly,
you don't believe so?
Yeah. Let me tell you.
This is something that
excuse me. I live in Abuja, and I said to you, I come from the northeast.
Are you aware that there's an IDP camp in Abuja?
Yes, I know, and I know the number of people who are moving out of those IDPs and are going back to their own homes. And also the IDPs that are in the northeast.
You're aware there's an IDP camp in Benue State?
Yes, I'm aware of that. Just a minute. I am aware that internally displaced persons, due to any form of insecurity, have moved up to those camps, and they have been camped there for quite some time. But over the last 3.5 years, they have quite a significant percentage of people have moved back to their, compared to where we were before, have moved back to their homes. That's very important. But I want you to understand that the biggest insecurity, the biggest national insecurity that we are all faced with is what I call corruption. That is the biggest national security that we're faced with, which all of us have to rise up against. And that is what this charade is all about. It's about bringing back the corrupt years of PDP. In the 16 years they've ruled this country, have mismanaged this economy. They have earned, over the 16-year period, over almost close to $800 billion in revenues. They have, over the 16 years, sold our national assets. Excuse me.
I have to interrupt you again.
Please,
I'm sorry, sir, Mr.
Can I land? Can I land? No. You need to allow me to land.
Let me help you out. You
need to allow me to land.
I asked the questions.
Okay.
So if I think that you've sufficiently answered the question, I have the right to interrupt.
Right.
Your party came into power in 2015 on the grounds of fighting corruption, tackling insecurity, and then also finding jobs for people, unemployment.
Absolutely.
If that is the case, have you done a poll to see how Nigerians perceive how you have fought corruption, to see if they actually think that you have done well in the fight against corruption? Okay.
You see, fighting corruption is you don't do that on a platter of gold. You don't provide a palliative solution to it, and you don't grant amnesty to corrupt people as a solution. You apply a consistent chemotherapy for a cancer if you want to get it out of your system, and you must be very aggressive on that treatment. And clearly, what we have witnessed is that the privileged few that have taken over our resources for quite a long period of time, and that is why I tried to give an example to the sales of most of the companies that belong to the government under the PDP watch. Investments worth over $100 billion have been sold for less than $1.6 billion by the PDP administration to their friends. And now our golden goose, that lays the golden egg, is going to be sold to friends and cronies.
My question to you was very, I'm sorry, sir, we're totally out of time. My question to you was very specific. Do you think that Nigerians think that your administration has fought corruption in the manner in which it promised?
Well, you see, that's why I said to you that fighting corruption, especially, corruption will fight back.
It's a perception of Nigerians.
No, corruption will always fight back.
You think they're fighting back?
Corruption is fighting back. Corruption is fighting back very seriously. But Nigerians are fully aware that this administration has taken on corruption headlong.
I'm sure if we continue this program today, we will not get out of here. There will be more than enough to say. But I have to thank you, gentlemen, for playing fair. And we hope that you'll be fair on elections day. There will be no violence.
Thank you very much.
You know, people are fearing that there might be.
No, there won't be violence.
But we're totally out of time. I'm sorry, Mr. Schwab.
No partitions?
I'm afraid we're totally out of time.
But the man who says he's fighting corruption has a colony of corrupt people who are standing trial as his friends.
No.
So a friend of a thief is a thief.
We have been speaking with Mohammed Jibrin Barde, who is the Deputy Director of Field Operations Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
And we also had Mr. Frank Schreibu, who is the Special Advisor Public Communication to Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
The next president of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Marco, for getting
the program continues in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Thank you.